everyone, welcome back to the Sandy Trail. We are in the last 10 minutes of season 2 finale episode. We have reached this point. I'm so relieved and excited at the same time because I can't wait to take a break from filming these. Honestly, it has been a challenge. I haven't been consistent with this Hazel, and I apologize for that, but thank you for your support and your patience, especially with the YouTube drama. But yeah, I'm so excited to do this. And before we get started, a few things. So there is always a playlist on my channel for like every trail that I do. So there is a Sandy Trail 1, which is season 1 of Sanditon, and there is a playlist Sandy Trail 2, which is season 2 of Sanditon. So if you miss any or if you want to catch up, feel free to check those out on my YouTube channel. And there will be another playlist, Sandy Trail 3, which is season 3 of Sanditon, which will be uploaded by this summer. Sandy Trail 3, just a heads up, I was thinking it is premiering in March, and with YouTube copyrights and the frenzy going on social media, I'm thinking to delay my Sandy Trail 3 journey on the channel, probably until the first week of May, so that would give me time to have a head start and start filming and making sure that everything goes smoothly. So I'll be back in May, possibly sooner, we'll see, but definitely the first week of May, and we get to hang out late spring, early summer, and then will be another break in between before I go back to season 10 of Went Heart to Heart, the Teacup Trail. I'm so excited to go back to my online community of the Hardys. I miss you guys, so I look forward to that. And also one more thing, feel free to comment down below, show some love, give a thumbs up, tell me your prediction, what you think of season 2 overall, what you want to see in season 3. You guys, you gotta tell me what you think of my reviews, and I hope you've been enjoying them. I don't know if you are, but there are a lot of views on my videos, so I guess it's a good thing. So let me know. I would appreciate it in return. Let's get started.
Miss Hayward, I owe you an apology.
For what?
My behaviour has been unforgivable.
Alrighty, let's break down this conversation between Mr. Heybourne and Charlotte. She was like on a positive note, going into his office and thinking that everything is fine between them, and he started to apologize to her. And then the moment he said, "I owe you an apology," like as an audience, you knew that what Leonard said to him, it got into his head and is encouraging him to not pursue Charlotte.
Twice I allowed my emotions to get the better of me. Twice I have taken advantage of my position over you.
You make it sound as if I'm not a willing participant.
She doesn't know what happened between Lennox and Mr. Heybourne, right? So she had no idea. She did not expect this. She even said, like, he tried to make her sound like she didn't agree to this romantic relationship. She did. When they kissed, she didn't push him off. So it's very obvious that she wants this relationship with him, and he's trying to make her sound like a victim, like he raped her. Like, he didn't rape her, but he's like, he took advantage of her, but he did not. They both agreed to this relationship, mutually agreed to this relationship together. So, like, part of this conversation is not making sense to her. It's so obvious that what Leonard said, it got into Mr. Heybourne's head, and he doing this just because he's afraid to fall further in love with Charlotte and to pursue this relationship. And he using the excuse of this employee professional relationship to drive Charlotte away from him and eventually drive her away from the family.
You are the girl's governess, and I am master of the estate. I am your employer. It was deeply inappropriate, and I feel only shame and regret.
That is all I am to you.
The change in her facial expression were definitely noticeable. She was happy to have another private moment with him, but it turned out that it's a serious conversation and something that she did not expect, something that I don't think she wanted to talk about. She was pretty easygoing and cool about the fact that she did kiss Mr. Heybourne twice and they had those intimate moments, and now like the reality check like sets in, like he trying to tell her like I'm your boss still, like technical terms, like I'm still your boss and you're still my employee, which is true. I'm not gonna deny that. I mean, that's still like in place and it's a good reality check, right? But on the other hand, it could have been a different scenario, like okay, I'm falling in love with you, Charlotte, we're still in this like employer-employee relationship, but I think it's best if we end this professional relationship so we can pursue this personal romantic relationship, right? Like that could have gone that way, like that path, but no, instead he apologizing and she's like trying to like break up with her in this moment.
A member of your staff.
In the circumstances, I understand that your position here has become untenable and you wish to leave at once.
The moment she asked him if that's all she is to him, just a member of the staff, you can see his reaction. He looked down, he swallowed before looking back at her. That behavior, that reaction tells me that he's not being honest to her. He couldn't like keep like a straight face when she asked him that most important serious question, like, is that all that I am to you? You just see me as an employee, nothing more than that. He is hurting her in the scene, and then he basically fired her on the spot. He didn't have to go that far, but he did. And that's like a double whammy for her in this scene. She's just like, oh wow, I just lost my potential boyfriend and I lost my job. All in one conversation, all in one day. It's not a good day at work for Charlotte.
I hope you'll accept 6 months ex gratia to compensate you for the loss of earnings.
I don't care about the money. Will you tell the girls?
That's the only nice thing that he did to her, willing to pay her for another additional 6 months because of this situation. She doesn't care about the money more than anything. She worries and have concern for the girls. The girls started to like her. They started to have this deep connection, deep relationship with Charlotte. So this will break their hearts as well. The same as it will break Charlotte's heart. It's like an older sister to them. At the same time, Charlotte was like the best thing that ever happened to them, like in the longest time, and she was the best thing that ever happened to Alexander in a long time, ever since the death of his first wife. So this is a huge mistake of Mr. Heybourne saying these words and doing these actions to Charlotte.
We shall say that your term came to a natural conclusion by mutual agreement.
Since the beginning of this conversation, he maintained his tone, his voice to the best that he can, to stay like serious and brave and confident and firing Charlotte, and then when she mentioned about the girls, I think that kind of like strike his heart, and he tried to like not show it. He kind of like struggled a little bit to maintain his composure.
This is your decision. And yours alone.
Charlotte made a good point. She's like, this is your decision. Like, I did not agree to this. I would never agree to leave these two girls like on this type of agreement this term. And she just ran out of the room, and you can tell like the way she closed the door, it was like a little bit of like slamming the door. It just showed her frustration and anger. And I did like how she ran out, because it just showed to him, like telling him like, you really made her angry and upset, and this is a huge mistake on his part.
Miss Hayward! Miss Hayward!
She let her emotion come out. She started to cry more and more as she got away from the house, so no one else get to see her tears. She did her very best to keep her tears in, to show that she is strong and that she is brave going through the tough conversation with Mr. Heybourne. Of course, she didn't want to show the tears in front of him, so this was her moment to just release her emotion and sadness and her tears. And Augusta came out of the house trying to run after her and call her name and try to figure out like what's going on. So she must have seen Charlotte storming out of Mr. Heybourne's office. And then when Augusta did say Miss Hayward twice, I think, you can see the tears started to get stronger, and she started to become more sad. It's heartbreaking. Those two girls are like a bonus younger sister for her, and her relationship with them means so much to her.
You will regret this.
Okay, to me, that's like, he realizes that part of him, like, he making a huge mistake. Like, you don't watch the love of your life walk away like that unless you, like, truly love her. So what are you doing, Mr. Heybourne? Mr. Whitley, like I said before, she's, like, one of the big fans, supporter of Alexander and Charlotte relationship. And she sees something special between them as a couple, and she's cheering him on. She's trying to cheer him on in the scene, like, you're making a huge mistake. Like, not only you losing your chance at love again, but you losing Charlotte as a governess and as a good role model for those two young girls.
It's better this way. But for her sake.
So that's like a low self-esteem talk. He's not confident to pursue her, and he's not confident in himself, and that he will be the best boyfriend and husband to Charlotte. It's a mind battle game that he going through right now, especially after that Lennox talk. The way that he talked to Alexander, like, you're not gonna do the same mistake you did to your first wife, to Charlotte. Like, are you worthy to be Charlotte's husband? Are you not gonna abandon her or mistreat her like you did to your first wife? So those talks are like battling in his mind, and he's thinking that by doing this to Charlotte will protect her and will benefit her in the long run.
Xander, do not shut yourself away again. Please.
She called him by his first name, kind of like a nickname. Sander. So there is that personal touch in the relationship between him and Mr. Whitley. It's really nice to have older adults in your life that give you wisdom and encouragement like she did to him in the scene. When she gave him that advice, like, do not shut yourself again, it reminded me of his house. Before Charlotte came along, that house was basically empty, not much love, darkness, kind of like death, you know? And then when Charlotte stepped into the house for the first time, and when she continued her employment as the governess, the house became more lively, especially that piano room. They finally opened that room, opened that piano, unlocked it, opened the windows, the blinds. They were dancing in the room. Leonora was running across that room in between the rooms of the house. It was joyful. Charlotte brought joy to the house. It takes one person just to bring joy to your life. And I believe that's one of the reasons why she came along, was brought into the lives of the family. I did not show the scene, but after that scene, it was the scene of Mr. and Miss Hankins coming over to Lady Denham's house, and Esther introducing her son to the Hankins family. So that was a beautiful moment. I just want to say that Esther was super happy to be the mom of George, and she is leaving Sanditon with baby George. So she is definitely going back to be with her husband, Lord Babbington, and I'm not sure if they will be back in season 3. Does anyone know? But I just want to say that just to conclude her storyline in season 2, I'm really happy that she became a mom again, and it just shows that, and this holds true to this day, that you can be a mom like in any way, shape, or form. Like, there's so many ways to be a mom. Not only having your own kids, but you can adopt, you can foster, you can be a spiritual mom if you go to church, and be that role model to the younger generation. So it's a beautiful message that the writers spoke of in season 2 through Esther's storyline.
What did you say to her?
That is not your concern.
I saw her leaving.
There are things you do not understand.
I understand that she brought light into a house which before her knew only darkness.
Augusta's not little anymore, so she understands some things, and I think he doesn't realize that his niece is growing up pretty quickly.
I understand that she brought us together, that she cared about me and Leonora as if we were her own sisters. I understand that she almost restored you to a human being.
I like her choice of words, like, she restored you to be a human being. That is so true. This is like the first time she actually confront him and kind of yelling at him, not in a rude way, but out of love. And there's boldness and confidence in her to say these things and to go to her uncle and say it and just put him in his place in a loving and truthful way. Good for her, because he really needs to hear it.
Are we to revert to how things were?
Augusta!
What is it that you were frightened of, Uncle? That we might finally be happy?
She's truly speaking the truth. What are you afraid of? Don't you want to be happy? You need to go out of your comfort zone and believe in yourself that you deserve to be happy and to find love again at the same time. She's speaking the truth, and I love her boldness. And he didn't like it at the same time, but he knew that she was speaking the truth to him. And at the end of all this, it's his choice if you want to listen to her or not.
Go to her, please. Ask her to come back. Tell her that you made a mistake. For our sake. not for your own.
She convinced him to go after Charlotte. At first, he was struggling when she told him to go after her and tell her that it was a mistake. He really didn't want to. So maybe he thought of wanting to have a fun, stress-free joyride with his horse. So maybe Augusta did change his mind and his plan of riding his horse, and instead just to ride his horse straight to Charlotte and to try to make it right. So with Mr. Whitley and now Augusta encouraging him, yeah, it definitely motivated him to go after Charlotte. If you already know the episode, like, he did eventually chase after Charlotte after this scene. But wow, what a moment. He needs to believe in himself that he will be a better man for Charlotte, a better husband, and that he will learn from his mistakes, learn from his past, and move on. That's the other thing. Like, he needs to stop living in his past and start living in the present moment and look forward to the future that he'll have with Charlotte. And he deserves that, and he needs to believe in that, and for himself and for his family.
Having had time to reflect, I've decided to accept your offer.
I thought you might.
Seems marginally less horrifying than debtor's prison.
1 point for Lady Denham, 0 for Edward. He decided to agree to his aunt's program. You know Lady Denham, when she wants something her way, like, she wants her way, and she gets it in the scene, and she's very satisfied that her nephew decided to choose her program instead of going to prison. She has a plan for Edward in this program that she wants to implement.
Oh, I wouldn't be so sure. And with Esther and Clara safely dispatched, you shall have my undivided attention.
Where's my son?
He doesn't have anything. The only financial support that he has now is to be under the wings of his aunt, basically living with her and going through that punishment program that she will be implementing on him. Like she said, she will have her undivided attention on him, so he can't escape, he can't do any bad things anymore. But we all know the mind games that he can create and how he's capable of doing bad things. So I wouldn't be surprised if he is up to something in season 3.
He's on his way to a better life, far removed from his wretched father.
It's sadder, but at the same time, George is better off without his dad in the picture for now. The only reason why Edward cared for his son is because of the possibility that his son's name would be on Lady Denham's will, and if that happened, Edward would have access to the money, but not anymore.
At least now that you're no longer working, we can enjoy the rest of the summer.
Father expects me home. I've tried his patience long enough.
You have a friendship. Is that not reason enough to stay?
So Charlotte told Mary and Georgiana of what happened between Charlotte and Mr. Heybourne and how he technically fired her from the job. So summer is still happening in Sanditon. It's not the end of the summer yet. Georgiana, she wanted to spend time with her best friend. That's what she desired in the beginning of season 2. She's like, man, you have a job now. We're not going to spend as much time as I wanted to. Georgiana thought that Mary invited Charlotte over just to accompany Georgiana after what happened with Sydney and helping Georgiana find a husband. But Charlotte needs to go back home, and I think she'd rather go back home, especially after what happened at her job today.
You can help me find my mother.
I hope I shall always have that, Georgiana. whether or not we are in the same place. And of course, I'll do whatever I can to help you find her.
Georgiana trying to convince her best friend to stay, not only to find a husband, but to find her mother. And Charlotte is in a tough spot. Of course, she wants to stay Sanditon just for the sake of the Parker family and Georgiana, but at the same time, I think she just needs that break for herself after all that she's been through so far this summer. But we already know season 3, like, she's gonna land back into Sanditon one way or another.
You'll be invited to Alison's wedding, so it shan't be long before we see each other again.
I do wish you would stay.
Charlotte, Mr. Colburn is here to see you.
I'm really sad though that we're not gonna see Fraser and Allison in season 3. I wish they did like a short appearance just to see, like, you know, maybe Allison get pregnant or something. I thought that would be huge to see a baby bump, but I don't think we will ever see them again after season 2, so that's really sad. I thought they were a great addition to the cast, the actors themselves, but also the characters. It's just really a great addition to season 2, and I really enjoyed the storylines and their love story at the same time. But Mr. Colburn arrived to the Parker house, and I think this is the first time that Mr. Colburn visited the Parker house, right, in season 2 that we know of. So this means serious business once again, and I'm pretty sure Charlotte is surprised to hear that from Tom when he announced the arrival of Mr. Colburn. So the next scene, here we go again, part 2.
I've been thinking on our conversation, Miss Hayward.
As have I.
When you get to understand a character more and more, especially like a long-term character in the show, you start to pick up little cues, like little things that they always do. So he's like doing that thinking ring finger again in this scene, and it just shows that he is contemplating, thinking about what to say, but at the same time he does that thing to like kind of like calm himself and try not to get nervous of what to say next to the person that he is talking to. It takes a lot of gut and courage for him to show up like this and try to make it right with her. I do love the sarcastic attitude coming from Charlotte. She had the vibe like, so have I. Like, she's still very upset about what happened and annoyed to be in this conversation. But she's trying to be patient for him and, you know, hear what he had to say to her right now.
I came to tell you that I regret the circumstances under which we parted company.
You made yourself very clear.
What I want to hear is that he say that he regret of everything that he said in the last conversation and everything that he did in the last conversation. And I want to hear that he wants her back, not only as a governor but as a girlfriend. But I'd rather have him like ask her to be back to the household as his girlfriend. I think the governor's situation, I think that should be out of the picture if he does want her back in his life. I think it's more mature if she stopped being a governess and just be his lover and be his girlfriend and have that dating relationship. But at the same time, she still can be there for the two girls as the future older sister, and she's a great role model for Augusta and Leonora anyway. So that's what I want to hear. Like, you know, like, be more specific, Mr. Holborn. You have to say the right words in order for her to come back to you.
Augusta's rightly furious with me. She urged me to come and speak with you at once.
Then you were here at Augusta's request, not of your own volition.
No. The house feels you're absent already.
Bad idea to bring Augusta in this conversation. Like, don't bring that up ever or until after the fact. Like, he really need to have that really good statement of like, hey, I made a mistake, I want you to be back in my life, I fell for you, like, I want to be with you. Like, he has to say those words. If not, Charlotte not gonna take him back. But he did say that the house feels her absent already, so the light bulb in her mind, like, okay, so not only Augusta and Leonora, but you, Alexander.
And I'm here to ask if you...
I'm resolved to leave Sanditon, Mr. Colburn.
Charlotte ruined his confidence. When he started to say that the house already feels her absent already, like, he said that with confidence and like a little smile, and then he was about to ask her something, and I'm like, oh dude, you just ruined his vibe. Like, he had the confidence to say the word that you've been wanting to hear from him. So yeah, she ruined that. She kind of like technically ruined his chance to be with her in a way, but at the same time, I can understand why she said that, because she's just like, you screwed me over, so I'm gonna screw you now in this conversation.
You were right in what you said. We let our emotions get the better of us. I mistook what I was feeling for a certain kind of affection.
Definitely got him. He's like, oh shoot, I made a huge mistake. Now she's going home. She doesn't want to be with me. She doesn't even want to be the governess anymore. So bad news all around for Mr. Heybourne and his household.
But I realise now, I could never feel such tenderness for a man who showed me so little respect.
Her emotion, her anger, her heartbreak is getting the best of her. So that led to her saying these things and cutting him off, trying to drive him away from her, and just to like get rid of him for the rest of her life. Also, she kind of like letting him know, like indirectly, like, you really hurt her. Like, what you said and what you did, like, you hurt Charlotte, like, really deeply. And you can see his reaction. He kind of like swallowed and like, like, he realized that, he realized again that he hurt her. And that's something that he needs to correct himself on, and that he needs to acknowledge that. And he needs to acknowledge that out loud, verbally, to her. So he got a lot of thinking to do. This is a breakup, and if he wants her back, he needs to understand where she was coming from and make it right with her. But right now, it is failing for him.
I will miss the girls a great deal. But I cannot be your governess, if that is what you came to ask.
He took control over in the first conversation. This conversation, she took control over it. So she was very demanding at the same time. Like, if that what you were about to ask me, like, I don't want to be your governess. And when she said that, that was like her answer to him, letting him know that she doesn't want to be involved in his life no more, like, in any way, shape, or form. Whether it's a work relationship, a family friend relationship, or a romantic relationship. She doesn't want to do anything with him and his family.
Thank you for making your feelings so clear.
I could be wrong. My guess was that he was about to ask her to be his girlfriend and to give her like another contract, another proposal, like, hey, you don't have to be the governor, but I want you in my life, and like, I'm in love with you, like, I want to be with you. I think that what he was going to ask her. Let me know what you think what he was about to ask her. I think he wanted her back in his life, just as Charlotte, nothing else. But what complicated and hard situation to be in. Like, how do you top that? You know, after what she said, like, how do you say goodbye or end the conversation, you know? And he didn't know what to say except for thank you for making it clear of your feelings. Like he's like, okay, so this is the end of us, I guess. Those many staring back at each other, eye contact, like they both know deep down that they are lying to one another, and not one of them want to admit and say the right words. So it's really sad, and he still respected her. He gave her a courtesy bow before he left the room. He did lie to her when he fired her. Like, he did want her to stay at the household, and of course he wants her. And now she is lying in her defense and in the second conversation of the day with him. And of course she wants to have him. Of course she fell for him, and they both fell in love with each other. So at the same time, it's like they are lying to each other. And they're just not admitting the absolute truth about how they feel for each other. And they making excuses. They're both making excuses. His excuse was that it's a work relationship. And now her excuse is that she realized that she's the type of man that doesn't know how to respect a woman and just treat women like crap. So excuses all over the place, dishonesty all over the place, and like just attacking each other and defending their own self against each other, just pushing each other away, further away from each other.
Enough!
I wish he changed his mind and turned around again when he stopped in his walk to the door, but you can tell, like, he knew it. He's like, what is wrong with me? Like, this situation, like, this conversation could have gone better. Like, he blaming himself. He's like, I shouldn't have had that first conversation with her like that. He realized that he made a huge mistake once again. Charlotte, she heartbroken. She said enough, and she blaming herself, not only for this situation, but she blaming herself that she didn't listen to her gut. In the first episode of season 2, she determined, like, she's not gonna fall in love again. She's not gonna have a man in her life again. She just want to open her heart, the door to love again. She just want to cut ties with men in general when it comes to romance. And she's like, gave a chance to love again when she fell in love with Mr. Heybourne and they kissed more than once. So she's just like blaming herself for opening her heart again to love and to pursue that love that she has for Mr. Heybourne.
Wilt thou have this man to thy wedded husband, live together after God's ordinance in the holy estate of matrimony?
We get to see a bit of Fraser and Allison wedding, so I'm glad we get to see that, especially the fact that we won't see them in season 3, if I am right on that. I don't think we will see them in season 3, unfortunately.
Wilt thou obey him and serve him, love, honor, and keep him, and forsaking all other?
We like to see Charlotte there supporting her sister, Mary and Tom Haim, Arthur Haim, Miss Hankin Haim. That's Mr. Hankin, right? During the ceremony. It looks like him. At first I was like, where's Mr. Hankin? But yeah, that's a beautiful wedding, and it's really nice to see the happiness at the wedding ceremony, you can tell Charlotte is very emotional, you know, especially her younger sister getting married first, and Charlotte is the oldest of the children in her family. So that's a little bit of an unexpected result of who's going to be married first, but it's Allison. But overall, Charlotte is very happy for her sister, and she knows in her heart that Fraser would take care of her sister very well. Yeah, it's really nice. And the music started to play, and it's the same music that played before when Allison chased after Fraser, trying to find him at the army camp, and the camp was like empty. And then the same music that played over when Allison and Fraser danced for the first time. So it's that same music that symbolizes this couple, their relationship, and the love for one another. It's kind of like a bittersweet music, like it's kind of like happy but sad at the same time. But they overcoming the bad parts that happen in the relationship. Now they're at that climax in the relationship, that peak. They're getting married and they have a future together and a future to look forward to as a couple, married couple.
Keep thee only unto him, so long as ye both shall live.
I will.
Georgiana is in the front row, sitting with Charlotte. They seem to be like the bridesmaids of Allison, so that's very sweet to see. Allison said yes to the vow, and that made Fraser happier and more relieved. So it was good. They are married. They agreed to commit to each other and be a married couple. To me, it's like the music, that melody is like the good and the bad times in life, the ups and downs, like the happier tone it played again over the wedding, and then when the music like started to be like a bit sadder, a bit more bittersweet, the scene changed to Mr. Heybourne's house, and the household, the staff started to cover up the furniture and close the windows. So it's like happy to sad. And that's how like the melody of this song, like from happy to sad and back and forth, that's how I analyze. I think that's my interpretation of the song and what's going on in the scene while the song is playing. So while there's a good thing happening with the wedding, there's also a sad thing that's happening with Mr. Heybourne. Looks like he is leaving Sanditon with his family. Beautiful wedding ceremony, and the celebration of it is really beautiful to see. Mr. Hangen, he looks really different when he wears his priest outfit. I was like, is that him? But the way the camera angled him when the bride and the groom walk out of the church, I'm like, that's really him? But it had to be him. He wouldn't miss it. And he's like the only priest that we know in this show. So that was nice that he officiated their vows and the wedding ceremony for Allison and Fraser. Interesting how Georgiana stood next to Arthur. I'm like, there's still that possibility that those two can be a couple in season 3. Charlotte is single, enjoying the single life, possibly. But that's a beautiful representation when the camera look over Allison and Fraser walking off into like the future, you know, as they walk away from the wedding guests, and then Charlotte looking after them from the back, and it kind of like she's sending her little sister away, and cheering them on to the happy future that they will have as a married couple.
How long will we be gone, Father?
Cannot say. You've been confined here too long.
So it's nice that Leonora and Mr. Heybourne will continue to have that solid father-daughter relationship. They are leaving Sanditon, so that's really sad. It's interesting how Charlotte is leaving. Well, she already left. And now Mr. Heybourne leaving Sanditon.
We need a change. All of us.
Charlotte's not in Sanditon anymore, so he's just like, you know what? What's there left for me here in Sanditon? And also Sanditon brings him even more sad memories because he lost Charlotte. So he's just like, you know what? Let's go somewhere else where a place doesn't remind him of Charlotte. Mr. Whitley is supporting this plan, this idea. She's very supportive of the family. So whatever Mr. Heybourne needs to do for the sake of his family, Mr. Whitley will respect that. The house, it looks so sad when the Harris started to drive away, and you see a glimpse of that house for the last time this season. It's sad. It's like darkness to light, and now back to darkness again. Leonora is a bit of a tomboy, so it was a bit unexpected to see her in a dress and dressed appropriately. It just showed that they learned a lot from Charlotte. Augusta is at that age. She is already introduced to society, so she is at that age where she is expected to dress like that at all times. But it's a good progress for Leonora. She still has some adjustment to go to become more mature as she grows up, and to follow in the example of Augusta and be that proper woman when she comes of age. But the girls are sad to leave Sanditon, especially the memories that they have with Charlotte, the good memories, and this is an emotional time for the family as well. And Mr. Heybourne, he needs that place where he can have peace and quiet, and probably think over of what happened between him and Charlotte. There's still some hopes, he could still make it right with Charlotte, but for now, Charlotte and Mr. Heybourne need that time and space apart to move on. And if something meant to be, right, it will come back to you.
You must come and stay with us again soon, my dear.
All of our studio apartments have been taken, even one by Georgiana.
Sanditon goes from strength to strength.
It's really nice that the Parker family is supporting Charlotte and her family at Allison's wedding. Of course, Charlotte had to come back to Sanditon for the last time in season 3, so it's kind of like a little cue and a little note from the writers hey, we'll be back in Sanditon next season. By the sound of what Arthur and Tom said, Sanditon is doing really well. The economy of Sanditon is doing well, so that's great to hear. Everything is looking bright for Tom and his family, and it's nice to hear that by the end of this season.
We shall be holding a party for my 21st birthday. Promise you will return for that.
Forgive the interruption, but I believe I'm promised the next dance.
May I introduce Mr. Ralph Starling?
Here comes this mysterious man. We did get a glimpse of him in the first episode of season 2 when Mary arrived to another wedding, I think, and she took Charlotte away from the wedding festivities, and we get to see a glimpse of this man, and you can tell the vibe, he likes Charlotte and he wants to be with her, but does she want to be with him? And then she, went to Sanditon again to be with the Parker family and got a job and spent half of the summer there. Now she's back home, and this guy appears again, and he seemed very close to Charlotte in a way that let him be helpful.
Charlotte talks of you often and with great fondness. I assume she's told you our happy news?
What news is that?
Charlotte talked about him a bit with Georgiana, so she does have an idea of who Ralph is and how he is associated with Charlotte. Georgiana already immediately did not support the idea of Ralph and Charlotte to be a couple. Georgiana was rooting for Leonard, but after that happened, she's like, no, you and Mr. Heybourne, and then that failed.
Ralph and I to be married.
The Parker family already know the vibes between Alexander, Heybourne, and Charlotte. They see that love connection between them despite of what happened. You can see the reaction. It reminds me of when you date different people and you get into a relationship, and then sometimes your parents will be like, we're happy for you, but he's not the right one. So those looks from the Parker family and Georgiana, they're like, we're happy, but you should have married the guy. He's not the right one for you. Especially Georgiana, she did not hide her facial reaction. She was looking at them like, are you serious? Charlotte, you really agreed to marry the guy? He's not the right one. So this would be a very, very interesting storyline in season 3. Charlotte is engaged to be married to Ralph. Of course, they will try to be happy for her, but especially Georgiana, she'll be like, no, this is so wrong. We, as the audience who support Alexander and Charlotte, we all say, this is so wrong. But of course, a show like this, of course it's gonna happen. And there was a reason why we saw a glimpse of him in the first episode of season 2, and now he resurfaced in the last episode of season 2. So it's a full circle moment. Of course, Charlotte stays single, and she kind of being pressured into marrying this Ralph guy because her father wants her to be with him, and they both come from a similar background, similar family lifestyle, and her father thinks that it would be a great couple. My next question is if her parents knew what happened between Mr. Heybourne and Charlotte, and if they did, especially Charlotte's dad, if he did find out what happened with Mr. Heybourne, I'm pretty sure that encouraged him, that motivated him to push Charlotte to marry this Ralph guy. Mr. Heybourne, he treated you so harshly. You should marry the guy, Ralph. He's a better man for you. But sometimes parent doesn't know everything or doesn't understand everything. So we all know Ralph is not the right one. It's Alexander. Come on. My last analysis would be Charlotte should not marry that Ralph guy, and she knows it. You see the look on her face right at the last second of this episode. She's like, I'm making the worst mistake of my life. This is worse than breaking up with Mr. Heybourne. Don't marry the guy, girl. Don't. But at the end of season 2, I'm really happy and relieved all at the same time. Oh, one more note though. Ralph, who is he? How did they meet? His personality. I'm curious as to what he's like as a man, But we already know that he's not the right one, but I'm just curious, who's this Ralph guy, If we would get to know him more, obviously, in season 3, but we all cheering. 99.99% of the fandom of the show is cheering for Mr. Heybourne and Charlotte to get back together, hopefully by the end of season 3. Before we leave Sandy Trail 2 for good, I do want to share a bit about my prediction and thoughts in season 3. I'm really sad that it will be the last season. we should have 4 seasons at least. I feel like 4 seasons will be enough to conclude everyone's storylines and journey on this show, but unfortunately this is the last season, but better than nothing, right? We got 2 additional seasons after the first season, so I'm grateful for that. I do want to see Mr. Heybourne and Charlotte back together. I hope we get to see the wedding, sneak peek into the future, like Charlotte having a child with him. I think that would be really sweet to see. We'll see. Georgiana, I'm excited to see her storylines in season 3 in regard to her future husband. Will it be Arthur? Who knows? Or a different guy? Is Lockhart coming back? Second, we hope to meet her mom in season 3. That would be a great storyline. Esther, I don't know if she's coming back. I think she's gone for good. I do love Esther though. She went through a lot, but I love the good heart that she has for people, the forgiveness that she showed to Clara in season 2. I thought that was a beautiful picture, a beautiful representation of true forgiveness in life. Lady Denham, is she ever going to die on the show? She seemed to be like rocking it at her old age. Like who's going to claim her fortune when she dies? I'm pretty sure Esther's name is still on Lady Denham will. The Parker family, and then there's like some new people coming in season 3, so that would be exciting. So some leave and some new ones come in just to keep the show fresh, but I'm afraid that Charlotte and Mr. Heybourne won't be back together until the last episode of the season, because I read the plot of every episode and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, we have to wait until the end of season 3 to see this couple be back together. So annoying. But as long we see them back together and that she doesn't marry Ralph guy, I think 99.99% of the fandom will be happy by that. It has been a thrill of a ride to be on Sanditon 2. I'm so proud of myself for making it this far. I should have finished it before 2023, but obviously it did not happen that way. Thank you so much for every single one of you that have been following along since the beginning of Sanditon 1 and 2, and for those who jumped on board in the midst of it, and for those who've been watching more than one video of the Sanditon episode. I appreciate your time and your patience just listening to my podcast. But yeah, I'm really grateful for this opportunity and just to have fun and talk about my favorite time period shows and share my thoughts and opinion to you. And in return, I hope you say something down below. Tell me what you think and what you predict and what you want to see in season 3. I would love to hear from you. And as usual, the door is open. I'm open to conversation. Thank you again, guys. I will see you very soon, possibly in May of 2023. And that'll be our last Sanditon. Sanditon 3 coming soon later this spring. Bye.